Alright, video number 2, okay, of the MCToon Moronic minions, the commenters. Okay, so they're just so bad, so stupid, so petty, so useless. These are the defenders of science. It's just really pitiful to think these are the people on the side against fables and nonsense. And no, when it's their fable, no, the rules completely change. Oh, they're just so duplicitous. It's just so ironically duplicitous. All right. The more they are wrong, the more they are arrogant. So, again, my arrogance is what? I'm saying, show me the evidence. And you're replying with, blah, 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 blah. I don't have any experiments. Not my job. Yeah, fuck you. Math versus meth. Yeah, that's brilliant. My mummy bakes cakes. Just frightening what these people must be. To even type that as a, to even type that somewhere is embarrassing. To have it as your screen name. Oof. Oof. Very scary. So this one is just so perfect. I just had to read it. All right, I have understood that right. Gary, as a complete Jesus, comes with a video clip where a guy fired a gun. Okay, it's not a guy, it's Professor Lewin, one of the people who is considered one of the greatest physics teachers known to mankind. That was fastened to the table and then said, the gun being fastened to the table is irrelevant. It's a ballistic pendulum experiment. I can't believe that these are science defenders and they don't know what a ballistic pendulum is. I learned about this in the 5th fucking grade. All right. So because it's kind of an important physics fact, that they show you the bullet flies out one end and the gun recoils the other end, and it's the same momentum. That's the whole point. Same thing, and look how different the same thing looks. Oh, brother. These people are so fucking stupid. The bullet flies with 100 miles per hour because I say so. The velocities are real, okay? The fact is, it's a very light object, 1,000 times lighter, and it's going 1,000 times faster. That's the simple way to look at it. And you have a problem with that description, you retard? All right, the gun does not move at all. Yeah, it doesn't matter whether it does or doesn't. We're not measuring the gun, fucktard. The experiment is trying to collect the energy of the bullet, idiot. Because it is screwed to the table, so 99.9% of the kinetic energy is lost. It has nothing to do with the gun's recoil. We're not measuring the gun's recoil. We're measuring the kinetic energy of the bullet. Oh, god damn. So fucking stupid. Feeding ravens. Again, feed this, in the future, piss on this fucker's grave. These people are all obnoxious to the truth. They don't give a fuck about the truth. They'll slander and rape the truth right in front of their raven or their mother or whatever, their pig. With the table, the mass is way higher. So what is it? Again, they're not measuring the table. They're not measuring the recoil of the gun, you fucking idiot. The energy of the recoil is also going into elastic deformation of the gun and the table. Where is it turning into heat and dissipates? Where it's turning into heat and dissipates. And again, what you don't understand what a ballistic pendulum is. And you're going to type crap on a video. Amazing. I just can't believe these people are so fucking ignorant and they talk this shit in public. So is it the usual? He says one video and the video said all the others think they know about physics is wrong. What? So it is the usual. He says one video. I don't know what you mean by one video. I pointed out how there's hundreds of videos on YouTube demonstrating that gun recoils is the same momentum as the bullet. And the video said, all the others think they know about physics is wrong. What the fuck are you talking about? It's all a big lie. They're all lie. They all lie. Well, the fact is they all lie when they talk about detector experiments and they talk about all these experiments that prove something, and there's no experiment that proves any of this crap. But is that not great? So what the? So you talked about the gun, and you still don't know what a ballistic pendulum is. Okay, you never understood anything what others talk about. But as it is all a lie, it is you who was right. Yeah, I'm quite certain I can understand the concept of a gun firing. There's an explosive. The explosive, consistent with the Newton's third law, produces energy in two directions. And basically, there's an obligation that the two objects move with the same momentum. That's what the other experiment he did with the springs and the carts fly off. That's what that one proved. When they're disagreeing with, the standard physics lectures, what is there to argue here? But it's not great. You never understand. Okay, we already did that. And as I told you, all lie. I am 1% trustworthy. So what he's putting words in my mouth, but I'm saying to you, I don't lie. Okay, and I haven't lied in any of the things I've stated. So you're a liar to say I've lied about anything. Okay. I now tell you the truth, the one truth that is true. And what are you doing, you fucking cunt? You're sitting here obnoxiously talking about a subject which you don't even understand the basics of. You don't know what a ballistic pendulum is. Okay, it is so obviously true that one does not need to think about that. One can just believe it. Amazing. This gibberish. Okay, and so he keeps going for whatever reason, double spacing this crap. And so you enter a cult, accepting the slogan as irrefutable truth. What are you doing? That's the definition of what you're doing. You don't even understand the subject, and you're certain it's true. You're certain it's correct. You're certain. You haven't seen the evidence. You've never seen anything take 25 times the fuel to go 5 times as fast, and yet you say you know it's true. You've never seen the 100-mile car do 100 times the damage of the 10-mile-an-hour car. 100 times the damage. Not 10 times the damage, 100 times the damage. The only knowable truth, and in this moment you turned into a genius that understands. So what is this mush? Work for Garyism, flat earth, creationism. So obviously I don't believe in any of that stuff. I certainly do believe in climate change. I mean, what's the point of this? What is this rubbish? What a fucking waste of time. So truth nerds. The way you put it, I know, reminds me of John, so another weirdo, these people reference. He claims to have debunked angular momentum. Angular momentum is absolutely nothing special. It's the same as momentum. Things have a velocity. It doesn't matter whether it's angular or it's linear. It's a velocity moving through space. Momentum is momentum. The moon has momentum in its orbit. It doesn't matter that it's angular momentum. It doesn't change anything. All right. Kaka, Tony, takes Gary to task. Where did he do that? Then destroys him. So we'll have to go find out who Kakara is. That didn't happen. Oh, fuck, these people are such morons. I mean, when I play the afterbirth, it's insanely useless gibberish. I mean, they just wasted my time, these morons. I want to talk to Gary and say nonsense and then watch him make a face saying, God damn it, you make me want to puke. You people are so fucking stupid. I think this fellow is infatuated by the term he does not actually understand. So, yes, go ahead, pompous fat tub of shit. Let's see, pro. He's a pro something. Prof. Bill Bell. Yeah, he's a proffer. Prof. What a fucking pilot turd. So let's watch one of his videos. Look at this big turd. Nothing. I don't hear anything. Yeah, I don't know. I have the volume on. Yeah. So for some reason, there's nothing playing. Okay. Well, something's broken, I guess. I don't know. Try somebody else's videos. Anyway, okay, this fella, let's see, he is obviously confused by the difference between kinetic energy and momentum. There's no confusion. It was a 100-year argument. It's not some kind of fake thing. It's a real difference in how the physical universe works. Momentum and kinetic energy. They produce entirely different universes, you fucking idiot. I would recommend he takes classes on kinematics and dynamics at high school level. Yeah, exactly. So how is that going to solve the problem? You say the bullet has 2,000 joules of special energy, the special happy kinetic energy thing. I say you'll never collect it. It'll never do any work because the only thing that can do work is momentum. The ballistic pendulum absolutely proves your kinetic energy can't do work. It can't move the pendulum. Oh, you're just such morons. All right, Gary is a petulant child. And you look at the childish nonsense in these comment sections and in the chat. I mean, it's just so ironic that one of these moronic minions would call somebody else a child when all they do is buffoon. You don't have any other brain function. All right. In the moment Gary gets enraged, he is vaping like mad. See, this is really a great physics argument. I never considered the vaping, the argument from vaping. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. These people are just such pieces of shit. Let's see if I understand this early stage of historical debate. If I deliberately force a collision to be maximally inelastic. So again, we're not talking about inelastic, because inelastic means you're combining momentums. There's not an issue. Amazing. It doesn't behave like a perfectly elastic collision. So I never mentioned an elastic collision. It's never part of any part of the argument. It has nothing to do with the subject. So you just lied about what I said, you turd. Musk. Yeah, you're probably pretty musky. Musky oxy. It's some sort of, I don't know, what do you call somebody who uses little girls as his icon? Going further, how much kinetic energy of fuel do you need? Question mark. What? Nobody even said anything like this. How much kinetic energy of fuel do you need? What the fuck is that? Fuel is a quantity of capacity to cause motion. That's the argument. The fact is, if you're going to make something do 25 units of work, you have to put 25 units of energy in. You can't get free work. Well, it's moving at 0 speed at the start, so you need 0 fuel to launch a rocket. Alright, that means so fucking dumb. Let's see. Truth nerds again. Unfortunately for Gary, whatever this is, isn't a Nobel Prize category. Tourette? Yeah. No, I don't have Tourette's. What I have is an aversion to assholes. I don't like assholes. Okay, and you're an asshole. So this is crossed out for whatever reason. What's in the box? Just put the 1000 there. So, nothing. Just mush. Sorry, I just don't. It just doesn't work to bring on experts to debate nuts. Debating nuts is a particular skill that science experts do not acquire. So this is the whatever this is, the little girly thing icon guy. Yeah, let's go find out what this is. So more about this channel. There's nothing there. Isn't that too disappointing? So who puts this kind of icon up? Who does that? Kind of scary. And it's a different name than the screen name. So they changed their names. Ah, yeah, that's trustworthy. Let's see, that was extremely satisfying. Well, that's useless. The cat is smarter and has better grasp of physics than Gary, so great argument there, Clivey. Oh, amazing morons. Well, that escalated quickly. It didn't escalate quickly. It was just 5 minutes of crap, and then 10 minutes of crap, then 15 minutes of nonsense, then 25 minutes of nonsense. And I finally said, what the fuck am I wasting my time for? They won't counter my arguments. They don't want to discuss levers. They don't want to discuss car crashes. They don't want to discuss anything real. And all they want to keep saying is F equals ma. If Gary watched this back, he would see that the, whatever this is, further his argument tells the faster it failed. No, I totally succeed and remain successful. And frankly, there's points where the stupid toon guy says crap that's absolutely provably incorrect. So, I mean, he has pwned himself. Which could be expressed as whatever. Also, R in draft is silent. Yeah, whatever. Oh, God, so pathetic. This guy doesn't understand that 1/2 mv squared is just the integral of mv. I mean... They think mv and mv squared is the same thing. No, it's not the same thing. Saying it's cumulative is just absolutely pointless. There is no part of the acceleration that's cumulative. It's only 9.8 meters per second. If you're in the forest 2 seconds, you got 2 9.8s. You didn't get any more than that. Oh, you're just so dumb. The guy obviously doesn't math, whatever. That's not even a proper sentence. And there are experiments verifying it. No, there aren't. So go ahead and show them. Link to them. Please, 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 please. Let me see the experiment where it takes 25 times the energy to move something 5 times faster. Go ahead. Okay, I can't believe this. Like the Gravin's experiments. That's the denting clay experiment. I already did it. I did it right in the fucking goddamn video. I argued with some physicist and I told them, well, haven't you heard of de Chardonnay? And then I pointed out what the denting clay experiment was and described it exactly. It's a piece of garbage, all right? Any physicist should be able to figure out very quickly why it's completely flawed and it won't give you the accurate result. It's as obvious as a pointed arrow. Oh, the pointed arrow penetrates further. That means it has more energy. No, it doesn't, retard. Oh, I can't believe somebody would post that comment. All right. He's shadier than I am. It scares me. Ha 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 ha. Lindsay versus Gary debate. Witless, LOL. Yeah, well, witless is exactly. He calls himself logic and reasoning, and this is his counter argument. Mush. This should have been stopped at the point when it became crystal clear your interlocutor was a person that never had heard about dimensional analysis. Dimensional analysis changes nothing. These are all two-dimensional type experimental situations. There's no dimensional problem. Confusion by crazy empirical units giving him some extra miles. Again, more nonsense about units making any goddamn difference. While I'm at it, make miles and kilometers. Think about how much confusion. So again, if you're using the same thing, kilometers, you're using the same thing, it doesn't make any difference. So fuck you, you're all bullshit assholes. Or the electric cars now, oops, what? So now he's doing watts versus kilowatts versus megawatts. That wasn't part of the conversation. The simple argument was that a joule as an imperial unit is the same as a watt. Just a fact. Oh no, you guys rather like the inverters miles per gallon, so the electric car you probably prefer also I mean, it's just a waste of time. Okay, so what? Just absolute turds. That's all these guys can produce, turd. Alright, I ought to find this stupid, this woman's supposed to be working at NASA. I have to hear that beginning again. She's a fucking idiot. Fucking moron.
If you want the performance of stainless steel, the versatility of cast iron, and...
Yeah, fuck you. Gotta make money to do my debunking of the flat earthers.
Closing statement. What I was saying about Hamiltonian mechanics.
So this moron is a PhD candidate. This moron, and he's a fucking moron. All right, couldn't understand a single argument. Doesn't know any of the history. Didn't know who Leibniz was. Didn't know who de Châtelet was. Doesn't know anything about the subject. Hasn't researched any of it. Hasn't thought about any of it. Doesn't know what experiments they actually performed to prove any of this. And obviously, they didn't perform any legitimate experiments.
Every observation in classical dynamics can be explained properly in terms of if you do the proper equations in Hamiltonian mechanics.
Oh, brother. So he kept doing this Hamiltonian thing. Like, no, it's absolute crap. Newton was right. He didn't need a Hamiltonian, okay? Didn't fix Newton at all. Didn't make it better. Didn't do any of that shit.
And Hamiltonian mechanics takes into account the total energy. So every experiment in classical mechanics.
The total energy meaning what? The nuclear energy? You know, again, this is how bad this is. So if I have a piece of uranium on a cart, I can't calculate how much energy the cart has because the uranium is changing its weight and it might blow up. I could nuke it and it would have, you know, megatons of energy, and therefore I can't calculate how fast the cart's going because it has a piece of uranium on it. I mean, this is just such nonsense to talk about something's, you know, the hidden chemical energy when we're talking about linear exchanges, translational collision experiments. I mean, amazing bullshit.
Is a
All right, yeah, you can see that.
Proof that energy is a useful and proper concept and that it exists.
So he kept talking about how it's useful, it's useful, it's useful. I kept arguing, what's the truth? Which one works? Momentum or kinetic energy? Which one gets right answers and is always conserved? Oh, that's right, momentum. Always gets the right answer. So show me an experiment where if I calculate the momentum, I'll be in big trouble. I'll crash. So show me a single circumstance where calculating the momentum, like my thrust when I'm a lunar module flying through space, and I use momentum to decide how much energy I should expel from my machine so I can navigate. Show me how, if I use momentum, I crash. Show me any circumstance where momentum gets a wrong answer.
Okay, so he wouldn't answer the simple question. So if I proved momentum every single time in every single crash, and momentum was proven every single time to be correct, and
right. So if I said if I do the car crashes all the way from 10 miles an hour to 100 miles an hour, and all of them come out perfectly proportional to momentum being the correct answer. That is, every car crushes by exactly this, 10 mile an hour increase. You just, twice the speed, twice the crushing, 3 times the speed, 3 times the crushing, 4 times the speed, 4 times the crushing, comes out perfect for momentum. Would that be good enough evidence? And he wouldn't answer the question.
Kinetic energy was proven to be fallacious. It wouldn't matter. The evidence doesn't matter to you.
Of course, the evidence matters, but you have to interpret the evidence.
Okay, so you would interpret
and bring the evidence.
So right, there was nothing to interpret. What do you mean you're interpreting the evidence? So I'm just saying, it's just going to forget about actually paying any attention. Doesn't matter what I use or how I do it. You prove it, it won't matter. So the ballistic pendulum decidedly proves that there's no such thing as kinetic energy, but you can't turn it into work. You can't use it. It's not an existent energy. It's absolutely non-existent.
The car crashes are lying to us. They're deceiving us. There's some variable we're not accounting for.
You have to properly interpret all of the variables, and just saying kinetic energy is all there is and the only thing we need to take into account is not properly interpreted.
So he just said kinetic energy. No, momentum's the only thing, okay? So you can't even get the argument correct. Fuck, idiots. I mean, this is where it just was idiocracy. You're just listening to this shit and you're just saying idiocracy now owns the whole fucking planet. Everybody is now been body snatched and they're all fucking got the brains of a fucking newt.
the evidence.
Energy is fundamental to physics, the most fundamental.
Yeah, energy is
thing.
fundamental to
It's
physics.
the simplest, most basic thing that's happening in the universe is motion, and you're telling me
Kinetic
it doesn't have
energy.
a standard. It doesn't. It's all kind of wishy-washy and mushy-washy. No, I'm
Kinetic
saying
energy
really
not equal.
solid.
Kinetic energy not equal to total energy. Total energy.
What's the total energy? I crash the car. I measure how much damage it does. What the fuck is he talking about? It's just the total energy. It's the total energy. I shoot the bullet into the ballistic pendulum. All right, the pendulum moves a little tiny bit. Okay, I collected 1/1000th of the kinetic energy. Now you could argue the clay is hot. Well, go ahead and measure it. I'm saying to you quite obviously, I'm saying there's no chance you're going to find 1999 joules of heat in there. You're not going to find it. You're going to find about 2 or 1. You're going to find what didn't come out in the ballistic pendulum in the momentum, because that's all there is. The momentum is conserved, and the kinetic energy is nonsense. That's why it's not conserved. It's because it's nonsense.
We're not talking about its nuclear energy. We're not talking about its chemical energy. We're talking about its translational energy.
I will. Do you want me to leave or just mute myself?
Yeah, just pop out and
Okay.
we'll let Kate. We'll let Kate talk here.
Yeah, so thanks for having me on.
Let everybody know who you are.
Okay,
sure.
so I'm Caitlin. I work on spacecraft for a living.
Okay, so it's not NASA. So she works on spacecraft, whatever the fuck that could mean.
So this is very familiar to me, particularly,
Yeah, I just imagine how much fuel it would take to launch you into space.
what engineers do to, compute what the spacecraft is going to be doing, where it's going to be going. And I messaged Mike that you were absolutely right that, we use all of Newton's basic equations.
So again, kinetic energy isn't Newton's equation. So again, she just kept ignoring the actual subject. I mean, it was just amazing that you're sitting here saying something very simple, okay? I can take a fire extinguisher and I can move in space using a fire extinguisher. That's in the movie, okay? Gravity, all right? And there's been other examples in other movies, but that's how simple it is. And all you're measuring it's the same thing. You could throw anything out of your spaceship, golf balls. It doesn't matter what you're throwing out. All you're doing is making mass and velocity leave. And when you push it away, when you push on it, to send it away, you get Newton's equal and opposite reaction. And that's all there is. There isn't anything else that's going to happen in space. So it's about how much momentum you push that way, and you get momentum this way. And there's no kinetic energy involved at all. If I pretend that when I throw the light thing and it goes faster and it has more kinetic energy, it won't make the ship turn more. I can't increase the energy by launching. All right, a little glitch in the hardware, so I'll have to sew this together. I know it actually says here, Astro Kate, actual NASA shill. So the claim is she actually works for NASA. So I have to explain to a NASA scientist Newton's third law. And it's just an absolute fact in space, right? On land, okay, friction gets in the way. These experiments don't come out 100% perfect. They come out like 98% perfect. But anyway, in space, it's perfect. And so if I'm in space and I'm floating next to a block of wood, doesn't matter, a block of anything, shit for brain, a block of shit for brain, and I push on it, whatever force it gets in terms of its momentum, its mass, and its velocity, I'm going to get exactly the same force in the opposite direction. It's just an absolute fact. And I can't change that scenario by making the thing lighter and trying to push faster or any of that crap. It won't change anything. Whatever momentum I give that thing, I'll get the same momentum in the opposite direction, and I can't change it. So the recoiling gun, push that out. The 1,000 atoms going 1 mile an hour. I push 1,000 atoms 1 mile an hour. I get a certain amount of recoil. I push one atom 1,000 miles an hour, I'm going to get exactly the same amount of movement. Period. It should end the discussion. Kinetic energy means nothing. The one atom has 1,000 times more kinetic energy, yet I'm going to get exactly the same motion. The energy is meaningless. It's a fable. It's nonsense. It doesn't have any reality. It can't move substance. It can't move stuff in the universe. Kinetic energy is nonsense.
When computing like where a spacecraft is going to be, and how it's going to rotate. This includes momentum, but it also includes kinetic energy.
So my assertion clearly is no, it doesn't. It never happened. That's not true. NASA doesn't use it. It didn't land us on the moon. So, and they're going to keep asserting that yes, it did, and they'll never show me any evidence that it could possibly work. That me pushing one atom 1,000 miles an hour is going to make me move more than pushing 1,000 atoms 1 mile an hour. There's no way I'm going to move more because that top one, the first thing, the one atom going 1,000 miles an hour is 1,000 times more joules. I won't get it. I won't have it. It won't happen. This is 5th grade physics.
So here,
Where?
So here I have the textbook used for engineers as they learn, spacecraft engineering. And I have right here in one of the first chapters.
Right. So, and it doesn't have anything to do with anything real. So this is where they just make up how much the fuel has, how many joules of energy are in the fuel. They make it up as a kinetic energy number. But the truth is, if you measure the actual momentum, that's all you're going to get. So whatever the momentum of your thrust is, that's all you're getting is an opposite reaction. You can't get anything more than the momentum of the particles you shoot out of the nozzle. That's all you can get is the opposite reaction to the momentum. You can't get the opposite reaction to the kinetic energy of the particles.
If you can see that, translational kinetic energy, which is defined as 1/2 v mass, 1/2 mv squared, and v is the velocity of the center of mass. And you can then get the delta kinetic energy by.
So again, there's no experimental evidence. There's no indication that it could possibly be true. It completely violates Newton's third law. It didn't land man on the moon. Understanding momentum landed on the moon. And this NASA engineer is just making shit up.
Taking the integral of all the external forces.
What's your opinion? Did the lunar module had to use one formula or the other formula? Couldn't use both. So what do you think NASA used to land on the moon?
I was not there.
Oh, I mean, just amazing answer. You're just sitting here saying, what the fuck? You have two choices. There's no other, that's it. You can't say both did. You can't say anything like that. You either go with the one that makes sense, where Newton demonstrated it. I mean, Newton knew what a cannon was. He knew what a cannonball was. He knows how it works. And you have to prove him wrong. And you're not going to do that with, I wasn't there.
When they landed on the moon, but I will say.
What do you think? What's your guess?
So you're not making a whole lot of sense. There's.
I mean, the question isn't at all complicated. You have two different formulas. You're going to use one of them to land on the moon. Which one do you use? The one that'll land you on the moon or the one that'll crash you on the moon?
It's not an if, they use this or they use this.
Yeah, it is. Explicitly. That's why NASA said we only use Newton's mechanics. It's Newton's mechanics. It's the third law mechanics, okay? It isn't some other mechanics. Kinetic energy violates the third law. The gun proves it. Oh, shit. shit.
Yeah, there is. You get different answers. You'll crash if you use one, and you go use the wrong one.
No.
Maybe they give different answers for the. Yes, it's a different.
They give completely different answers for how long your thruster should be on. Okay, it's absolute fact. If I use one formula, it says my thruster only has to be on 30 seconds. If I use the other formula, it says it's 60 seconds. It's completely different answers. One of them will not land you on the moon. It's just a fact. And to deny this truth, to deny this stuff over and over is just so ridiculous. It's ridiculous to have this conversation about something as elemental as I'm sitting in space next to this thing and I push it away from me, and I'm not going to get its kinetic energy isn't going to go into me. Okay, the only thing going to go into me is its momentum. Whatever momentum I gave it, that's what I'm going to get. Nothing else is possible. Oh, they're just such liars.
No, they don't. No,
Idiots.
no, they don't. No, they don't. You always end up with the same amount of energy coming in as out. This is very.
Oh, it's just amazing. Kinetic energy theory says exactly the opposite. I can get any amount of energy out by just changing how big the objects are that I'm applying the energy to. I push light things, I have lots of energy. I push heavy things, I get nothing. That's the formula says. That's what the V squared means. That's the consequence it has. How can they sit there and pretend that these two formulas have anything in common? Beyond the MV, everything else is a disaster. The 1/2 and the squared velocity means they're not going to get same answer.
It's different than the gun. It's a proven fact. Okay, there are different amounts of.
Let's see. Okay, Kate, how many elephants do you throw out the window of the space shuttle to turn? So they're mocking this very simple principle that was so, I think, kind of perfectly illustrated in the Gravity movie. I mean, she's sitting there with a fire extinguisher, all right? And it's Newton's third law all over the place. Point it in a direction, you're going to get momentum in the opposite direction, and all that's going to matter is how many particles did you shoot out of the fire extinguisher and how fast were they going, and that's going to decide how much you're going to move in the opposite direction. Kinetic energy is irrelevant. She could throw, in one time she throws the fire extinguisher, right? When she needs the last little boost of energy, she throws the fire extinguisher. It's not the kinetic energy of the fire extinguisher that's going to move her. It's the momentum of the fire extinguisher. I mean, oh, these people are such pieces of garbage to defend this nonsense.
Mass and velocity. You cannot say they will have the same effect on the lunar module. They will not have the same effect.
So a bullet has a very light mass. A gun has a very heavy mass.
It doesn't matter.
We already went over that so many fucking times in this whole thing. And exactly, the bullet has 2,000 joules. The gun recoil has 2. They have identical momentums. Identical momentums. Just amazing.
How about its momentum?
It absolutely does, because
momentum versus kinetic energy is the subject.
But
momentum versus kinetic energy.
Momentum is mass times velocity, essentially. It's a combination of the two.
It's this. She just said it's a combination of the two. The two whats? I mean, it's such an illogical argument. There's no combination of the two. That doesn't work. That's not going to work. It's one or the other. You can't use both formulas. You won't get a right answer either because one of them is nonsense. Mixing nonsense with something good doesn't make double good. It makes crap.
And so, you're not going, you always have the same amount of energy going out as in. You're always.
So she keeps saying something stupid. It's the same amount of going in and out. We're not talking about that. We're saying you have a pressurized vessel containing gas. You're going to shoot the gas out to move. The amount of momentum the gas particles have when they leave your ship is what's going to cause the equal and opposite reaction. The momentum will decide. The kinetic energy calculation will not tell you the truth. It will not tell you how much energy you're going to move with. The momentum tells you how much energy you're going to move with. Absolute fact. And I can't believe I have to argue that with somebody working at NASA. What does she do? Clean the fucking scrub floors? What do you do that you could be this fucking stupid?
You can have a little bit of losses in terms of heat, but yeah, you absolutely do use all of Newton's basics.
This is drivel.
She keeps saying you use Newton's basics. Newton's basics is not the kinetic energy formula. Should I play Dr. Lincoln at Fermilab pointing out that Newton believed in momentum? Oh, shit.
This
Use
is drivel.
all
I'm
of-
sorry. Okay,
use all of Newton's basic equations.
I'm in a spaceship right now.
Yes.
I throw a bullet going 1,000 miles. So I throw 1 gram going 1,000 miles out of my spaceship. Okay?
Right.
It has a huge kinetic energy. Now I throw an elephant out, okay, which is 1,000 pounds, and it's going to go 1 unit of velocity. All right, it has a tiny amount of kinetic energy. Okay, it has exactly the same momentum. So obviously the two things are not the same. The kinetic energy says there's a different amount of energy in these two things I just threw out of my ship. All right, it's just an absolute fact that they're a different amount of energy. Momentum says they're the same energy. Kinetic energy says they're different energies. And what I'm saying is anybody who has navigated in space, I would argue they know those two units of thrust are exactly the same. The elephant moving 1 unit of velocity is exactly the same as the tiny 1 gram moving 1,000 units of velocity.
You are mixing your units.
Oh, so I mean, there's no there was no units in the conversation, and it wouldn't matter whether I said 1 pound and 10 pounds. As long as I use pounds for both sides, it doesn't make any difference. I can use miles per hour. I can use meters per second. It doesn't matter which one I use, as long as I use the same unit for both. The formula still works. The formula is 1/2 mv squared. It doesn't say, the formula doesn't say meters. And it doesn't say seconds. It doesn't have to. It holds no matter what units you use. It still works. It's exactly the same thing.
I didn't mix any units.
You are absolutely mixing your unit.
No, I didn't mix any units, so she's just a fat liar.
Do that, so it's just a lie.
Right, and when you're looking at momentum, it's mass times velocity. Kinetic energy is 1/2 mass velocity squared. But
I've been doing this for 10 years. I know what it is. I know what
Yeah.
the V squared means. The V squared means that you exponentially increase the energy with velocity.
Well, I changed that to quadratically, okay? It's not exponential, it's quadratic. Oh, too bad. I'll pause. All right, so I mean, it's just amazing that you have to explain this to a NASA scientist. It's just amazing. So, I'm not perfect with my analogies, but I think I've made them as clear as I can possibly make them. I have a spaceship, and I have a little door over here that shoots a gun, okay, weighing, 1,000 times more than a bullet. And the gun shoots out one side of my spaceship going 1 mile an hour. It's 1,000 times more weight, and it's going 1 mile an hour. The other side of my ship, I shoot out the bullet, and so it's 1 unit of mass, and it's going to go 1,000 units of velocity. My ship doesn't turn. So their theory says this side, I shot out 1,000 joules of energy out one side, and 1 joule out this side. That's what their theory says. And the ship didn't turn. I mean, what more do you need as proof that the kinetic energy can't be real because it can't move a spaceship? It can't move mass in empty space. I have a bunch of empty space, and the kinetic energy theory can't move it. Momentum moves it. This shouldn't have to be argued. It's so obviously true.
Quadratic, gigantic increase in the energy. All I have to do is make light things go fast, and I can make a ton more energy than big things going slow.
What the equations
don't really work. Wrecking balls are a big fat lie. They don't knock down anything because they're big giant things moving way too slow.
Are you being sarcastic, or
Yes, of course I'm being sarcastic. This is ludicrous. I just gave you the example that the 2 units of energy are not the same by your kinetic energy theory.
But that's why we use different units.
Oh, so I just it's just hopeless. You're just saying, God, these people are so dishonest. They're so caught up in their lie and defending their Jeebus, that they just will not listen to the evidence. They will not look at the fossil. They won't look at the physical evidence that just demonstrates that, the Galapagos Island evolution. They won't bother. I won't look at it. See no evidence, hear no evidence, talk about no evidence, argue no evidence. Just talk shit formulas. The Holy Ghost says so. The Holy Ghost formula.
So,
Put it in units. Put it in your kilograms per Newton, whatever. I don't give a shit what the units are. A 1, you don't understand a 1 and a 1,000? Then it doesn't matter what the unit is. I can make it X's, I can make it W's, I can make it wackos, I can make it crackos. It doesn't.
I mean, it's amazing that you really have to argue this with these fucking morons. It doesn't matter what I use to define the mass or define the velocity, as long as I use the same units for both things. It can't make any difference. Oh, fuck.
No matter what I call the damn units. There's
Well, sure it does.
1,000
What?
times more velocity. Do you understand? 1,000 times more velocity. Can you understand that concept?
What's more?
I mean, it really is ridiculous, right? It's 1,000 times more. It doesn't matter whether it's 1,000 times more meters or miles. It doesn't make any fucking difference.
Per second. Who cares?
100 nanograms or 1 gram.
Okay.
Units absolutely matter.
Yeah, I gave it to you. It's 1,000 times heavier, right? I kept using a simple analogy, a simple metaphor. We're just going to use 1,000 to 1. 1 atom versus 1,000 atoms. 1 elephant versus 1,000 elephants. 1 mouse versus 1,000 mice. What the fuck?
Ton.
All right. I'm sorry. You're ridiculous. You're ridiculous. This is a ridiculous conversation. I'm saying it's a unit of mass. Newton didn't bother with units. He always said 1 of this, 16 of that. There's no problem using these ratios. No problem at all.
I'm going to leave it there. You said Newton did not use units.
Yeah, he didn't. Okay, so you want me to show you the formula he wrote? All right, doesn't have any units in it. Mass times velocity. There's no units there.
I'm sorry.
So this is the best they can do. This is their counter argument. This is how they're going to explain how kinetic energy doesn't have to obey Newton's third law. Newton was an asshole. He was fucktarded that day. It doesn't happen that way.
I have a cat. I have a cat.
Oh, yeah, let's see the cat. Let's see the cat.
It's disgusting that these people have cats. It really is disgusting. They should be whatever. They should have voles as pets.
Cat.
Read it.
All right, hold on, Gary. We got a cat.
Just amazing, right? They're gonna waste people's time with this shit.
Anytime there's a cat, the cat wins.
I mean, this is such a
Yeah, I need to see that fat butt. Thanks a lot for that.
simple argument there. I mean, not to concede the kinetic.
Oh, it's in a gray too, right? So it's a Santino cat. So that's very depressing. He looks trapped. He looks like he's saying, "Gary, come rescue me. I hate living with this turd, this ignorant pig."
Energy and momentum says it's a different amount of energy. Is just too
Screamy,
ludicrous.
screamy.
Hold on, Gary. There's a cat on screen. You gotta give us
Yeah, it looks like it's ready to throw up.
I'm
second to
really
the
not
cat.
interested. I'm really not interested.
Is what's the cat's name?
Astro cat.
Astro Cat.
We-
Oh,
Oh, brother, I really think he hates that.
yes.
Astro cat. Yeah, we explore the
Yeah.
Milky Way together.
Oh, brother, Jesus Christ! Explore the bag of potato chips.
That's funny.
All right. Well, like I said, it's
You need trouble.
literally, everything you said wasn't in the textbook that they used. It's in the text.
Yeah, so there's nothing in the textbook saying that kinetic energy works as thrust. Nothing in the textbook will say that because it won't work as thrusters navigating in space. If you use kinetic energy, you will crash.
Okay, I'm just saying that I bet you I will prove you wrong. Okay, time will prove you wrong. Momentum changes the position of things navigating in space. It just matters about how much mass and how much velocity it has, and it is not squared. It doesn't work that way. Momentum moves spaceships.
Well, you're not entirely wrong.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. There's no partial anything here. One formula successfully lands you on the moon, the other formula won't, because they have a different definition of how much energy you have to use to create your thrust. One of them says leave it on for 30 seconds, the other one says leave it on for 60 seconds. It'll have a different outcome. It's ludicrous to have this fucking argument that you only have to use part of one and part of the other. No, it's all are dead.
Momentum does a role in moving the spaceship.
I mean, it plays a role. What is that as an answer? This is a NASA scientist, and she's going to tell me momentum plays a role. Over there. It sits in the corner. It pets the cat. I mean, it's just so fucking ridiculous. Okay, let me read this. Let's see. It's hilarious. He is talking back to Kate, who literally works on spacecraft. Yeah, it just proves it is idiocracy. I've seen the things blowing up now and then. So, so yeah, I don't think they're working as well as, frankly, they used to. Did you work on the shuttles? Yeah, they did really well, didn't they? 1 in 70 trips, complete fatal disaster.
It's all that matters. There is no, if you use kinetic energy, you will crash.
Okay, so if you are measuring the power of a rocket, what units do you use?
I mean, what's the point, right? There's just no point. What units do you... Does it mass and velocity? I don't need any fucking units. I'm going to decide how much mass did the stuff I shot out have and what's its velocity. And it doesn't matter whether I measure its velocity in miles per hour. It doesn't matter what I use to measure its velocity. It's just mass and velocity. That's all that's going to make any difference.
Talking about the power, we're talking about navigating in space. Can you please just stick with the analogy? We're not pretending rockets are changing their weight and doing all of this crap. We're talking about a lunar module landing on the moon.
Now they don't change weight?
It shoots gas out, okay?
I mean, so look, they just keep doing it, right? They don't change weight. Well, the lunar module didn't change any weight because it's a tiny amount of the lunar module's weight. The lunar module is pretty heavy, like a ton. All right? It wasn't just some paper mache thing, okay? It was a real spacecraft. And the little bit of gas it excreted was a tiny percentage of its total mass. So when it shot some gas, it didn't all of a sudden substantially change its weight.
The lunar module shoots gas out to navigate.
You're talking about a rocket.
Based on mv squared or momentum.
Look at this pig just laughing. Like, it's a joke. The truth is funny.
I mean, this is so a fucking 10-year-old could understand this argument, and you're sitting there just mocking it. But you can't fucking understand something so simple as thrust.
I can assure you I
watch the Gravity movie, okay? She sits there with a fire extinguisher. What do you think is making her move? Momentum or kinetic energy?
Yeah, Newton's laws.
She says it again, Newton's laws. What the fuck? Newton's law was written about momentum. Newton didn't write the law about kinetic energy. If he believed in kinetic energy, he would have said, oh, fuck the third law, because that isn't true. Because I can have 10,000 times more energy going one way than goes the other way. I just put a really heavy thing on one side and a really light thing on the other side, and equal and opposite goes to hell. So this is just such bullshit. God, these people are such scum, such dishonest scum.
It is not. Mass times velocity. So if you apply a velocity to a mass, you get momentum. So, and you can get joules by applying newtons times meters or newtons times.
Yeah. So where's the kinetic energy come in? So again, she's explained to me exactly what I said is the truth, which is momentum works. Oh, fuck.
Distance.
What you can't do is square the velocity of the object you're disposing of. The thing the mass you're throwing away, you can't square the velocity and get a correct answer.
But the momentum is in a different unit.
It doesn't matter.
It's just so pathetic. Oh, it's just amazing. Just amazing. I mean, you can't make it any clearer, right? You have the spaceship. You shoot the bullet out one side. So it's just a machine. It shoots a bullet. So it's 1 gram going 1,000 miles an hour. The other side, you have the 1,000 grams, and the machine just pops them out at 1 mile an hour. What do we have to argue about units for? The simple point is the kinetic energy theory says I have 1,000 times more energy going out one side than went out the other side. I should turn. And the absolute fact is the spaceship will not turn because the spaceship only sees momentum. It doesn't see the kinetic energy joules. It doesn't know they exist. And it doesn't know it because they don't exist.
I know, it's the same thing. Okay, Kate.
You people are ridiculous.
Kate, melodic lyric says...
I agree, yes.
Melodic lyric says, do you use momentum or energy for the vis viva equation for orbits?
We just pretend a cat's in orbit and we just,
So she won't answer his question. They don't even know that vis viva is the Leibnizian acronym for the word. That's what Leibniz called it, the living force. They don't even know that.
Use that instead. Just model a cat.
Ridiculous.
Kango44 says, why do these idiots turn into rude, belligerent arsewipes when challenged?
How was I challenged? I made a simple point that kinetic energy and momentum...
Kate challenged you, and then you turned into a rude, belligerent arsewipe. That's what happened.
Well, so...
Oh, amazing. I'm just saying, it's amazing. You're not supposed to reply to this mockery with insults. You're supposed to just say, oh, thank you. I appreciate you putting me in my place. Yes, I deserve to be mocked and laughed at as if I said something ridiculous because I said it's an absolute fact that mv does not equal mv squared. Those two things aren't the same thing. They don't have the same numbers. The mass is a standard thing. The velocity is a standard thing. If I square the velocity, the two things won't be equal. Duh. I should be mocked for pointing that out.
So here's the thing, you have your opinion, and and I respect the fact that you have opinions.
Got it.
But I think that it's actually kind of cute and funny that you have these beliefs, and
I think it's, as I point out, frightening and depressing that you retards can't understand something as simple as it's a push universe, and when I push on something, I have to do the equal and opposite reaction.
I'm laughing because I'm secure, that I know.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm very...
Yes. She's secure. So she's absolutely sure God is real. She probably believes in solitons and monads.
Insecure because I'm saying this person's actually hired to do science and they can't understand the difference between an MV and an MV squared. I mean, Jesus Christ, that's ludicrous.
I agree. I don't know why people pay me.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know either. It's a bizarre world, just so bizarre in what it values, I can't even understand how people get these salaries, like cops and shit, and these morons, these fucking thugs, and they pay them 200 grand a year and give them all kinds of perks and let them get away with all kinds of crimes. And this is the culture we have. That's fine. That's the way it should be. They should be unaccountable and immune. They can violate our constitutional rights, and we should give them immunity. It is so fucking ridiculous.
This stuff, but I'm really glad that they do.
Yes, I don't know why either.
I'm so lucky.
The world we live in.
That's amazing, Kate, that you can.
Fucking idiocracy is everywhere.
Yes.
Obviously, when you do all of those calculations, Kate, they're always wrong, and you.
So we know that this is one of the simplest mechanical systems there are. You have a thing in empty space. It has no motion. All right, it's just sitting there, no relative motion. And you have another thing, okay, an object you're holding, and you're going to throw it away from you. You're going to give it a velocity, and it's going to have a mass. And so this most simple experiment that you could possibly do, the most elemental physical experiment there is, and it has a certain outcome, a definite certain outcome, that I'm going to get exactly what I gave and nothing more. Momentum will tell me exactly, the momentum that leaves will tell me exactly how much motion I will get. Absolute fact, and this NASA engineer is saying it's not true.
You must.
Yes.
That's what I said.
Seems
That's
to
what
me
I
that
said. Yes, that's what I said.
that
Yes, of
you
course.
do the
That's exactly what I
calculations,
said. She
and
can't
there's a
understand the difference
global
between
conspiracy.
MV
Hold on.
and MV
Hold on.
squared.
There's a global conspiracy to hide the true nature that only.
So, this is always the rag they go on. As soon as they've lost the argument, is to say, I have a conspiracy theory. As I pointed out, by saying the word idiocracy, you don't need a conspiracy, right? There's no conspiracy creating religious kooks. It's created by ignorant assholes, morons who don't care about evidence or facts. And that's exactly what you are. People who don't care about evidence and facts.
Only Gary knows, and all the stuff you do is calculated on the other side of the curtain by those who also know, and they change the numbers after you input the numbers.
Right. We teach.
So it can't be a simpler concept, right? Something in empty space, there's no other variables, it's so obvious, it just can't be any more obvious. And I can't use my pushing force, the momentum, and push a light thing and make it go faster, and then square that velocity and say, now I have created more energy, and now I will move with more energy. It doesn't matter. I am applying a force. The amount of force will be the same for the light object as it will for the heavy object. I can't fix that. I can't change that. All right, and the fact is all I'm going to get is the equal and opposite reaction to the momentum. I will not be able to move faster because I threw a lighter object.
Them this stuff only to have them forget it, and then we have the engineers make up the actual stuff, which is just based on momentum, and then.
So I just wrote MV equals 1/2 MV squared because that's what they think. They think the two things are the same thing. Yeah, that's what they think. They can't tell the difference.
This is their flat Earth physics. They actually believe momentum MV is the same as 1/2 MV squared. They think it's the same.
No.
Nobody thinks that.
energy.
Yeah, if you're going to put words in my mouth, I'll put them in yours. So he just said I have some conspiracy theory, all that babble he just went through. They're such hypocrites. They're such duplicitous hypocrites.
The
No one
same
thinks that, no.
calculation. That's exactly what you just said. If you can hear us saying it in this video. Everybody listening to this video, if you're an honest person, that's exactly what you just said. It doesn't make any difference which one you use. It doesn't matter. It's all the same thing. No,
Okay, replace MV with the capital letter L, and I think it will be much more accurate.
Right. So L has something to do with momentum, right? So the argument's about momentum versus kinetic energy, and she wants to talk about L.
What does that have to do with anything?
That's what they use to represent.
Launch capacity or launchericity. They use it for launchericity. The subject's kinetic energy versus momentum. That's the subject. Could you find the subject, please?
Yeah, so you can basically, if you know the mass.
She's going to do the same thing again, and you know the velocity. That's the momentum, and but that won't. Yeah, well, yes, that works, but it doesn't work entirely completely, except it works entirely and completely, but it doesn't really work entirely completely because you have to somehow squeeze mv squared in there because that's our God, and we have to pray to our God, so you have to put our totem pole in there somewhere. You have to take the old totem pole with you to the moon.
And the kinetic energy of a particle that you're emitting, you can convert that into momentum. And
the point is the same action creates two amounts of energy. The gun creates 2,000 joules going that way and 2 joules going that way. You can't keep denying the fundamental argument that the heavy thing has less energy because you're squaring the velocity. Two things with identical momentums do not have identical kinetic energies. That's what the v squared causes. Do you understand cause and effect? Well, when you square the velocity, it means that the thing going fast is going to have a very, very high energy, and the thing going slow is going to have a very little energy. Even though they have identical momentums. Oh, fuck.
I'll say it again. They landed on the moon by using one of these equations. They can't use
No,
both.
they didn't use it.
They used, yeah.
Okay, he says they didn't use that. So he's saying when they land on the moon and they're deciding how much thrust to apply, how many seconds of thrust, that they didn't bother calculating. They just said, go ahead, shoot some shit out. We don't care. No, they had to calculate how much thrust they were going to expel, and they were calculating the momentum because momentum moves spaceships. Momentum obeys Newton's third law. Kinetic energy doesn't. Shit. I just can't believe I have to do this. There's not anybody out there. None of you fucking scurvy scumbag will sit there and say, God damn it, yeah, this is idiotic. Why are we arguing this?
They used all the equations.
I'm sorry, they did use mass and velocity of their thrust. The gas they eject from the fucking lunar module has a material mass, it has a material velocity, and that's what they used to calculate how much their ship was going to move. The momentum they released...
These are absolute facts. I mean, there's just no way these assholes can deny these absolute facts. This is like a picture of the spherical Earth taken from a satellite in space. It's so fucking crystal clear. And these flurfing morons are just sitting here playing denial games. Let's pretend we don't understand the third law. We don't understand the difference between a squared velocity and a not squared velocity. I mean, God damn it. So dishonest. So fucking stupid.
Is the opposite reaction they were expecting in their lunar module. That's an absolute fact, and you buffoons can play your silly games. You've exposed yourself as silly turds, okay, because that's an absolute fact.
So if you go into here, here we go.
Oh, it's just amazing. So there's no counter argument. She's just going to show me highlighted text in a 500-page book. She's going to show me one piece of highlighted text that has no context at all. No context. She's just going to claim that, no, this is the formula they use when they're navigating. Is it? Is that what the chapter was titled? How to Land on the Moon? Was the chapter titled How to Land on the Moon?
I'm going to highlight a sentence out of a whole book.
No, I was going to show you some rocket equations, but the unit that they use for those exhausts is called a rocket exhaust. It's
So
called a
you're doing it
Newton.
again. No, it's a navigational
Newton.
thruster. It's a
called a
navigational
Newton.
thruster.
I just, I can't believe it. It's just mass and velocity. We don't need any other coefficients. We don't need any other symbols. We don't need any other crap. It's as simple as it gets. The mass and the velocity of the stuff I push, whatever the mass and velocity is that leaves me through my force, I gave it energy in a direction. I'm going to get an equal and opposite reaction, and I'm going to move with the same momentum in the opposite direction. Absolute fact. Never are you going to prove it wrong or incorrect or incomplete. It's a complete statement about the physical reality. That's how physics works. That's why Newton got right answers, is because he knew that truth.
But the
It's
units.
not a rocket engine leaving the Earth.
But the units.
It's navigating
It's still in
empty
Newtons.
space. It's
And it's
navigating
RCS.
empty freaking space.
Yes, in space, those navigational thrusters, which are called RCS units, they operate the same as any other rocket. And
Okay, so, bullshit. They operate this, yes, it's all the same, but if you use kinetic energy, you're not going to get a correct answer about how long you leave the thing on. So it won't work. You will crash on the moon if you don't use momentum.
the units that they use.
They do not use mv squared to measure the thrust. Okay,
They-
a bullet
they
leaving
use
the
the
spaceship
impulse.
is no different than the elephant leaving the spaceship 1,000 times
Oh, wait.
slower.
Oh, we're gonna get
Again,
there. Hold on.
you
Gary, this is gonna be
believe
good.
Otherwise,
Gary's
Go
gonna
ahead,
like this.
go ahead.
Oh, fuck you. I mean, what an asshole. Yeah. So how many times did I have to go over it? I had to go over it like 50 times. 50 times I had to keep making the same assertion and waiting for them to counter that assertion. That the third law works, and all that's going to matter is what's the mass and the velocity that I pushed. That's going to decide how fast the rocket goes. Nothing else. The rocket has a mass. You can push it now a velocity, and that momentum of that motion will have to be exactly the same as the momentum you pushed in the opposite direction. Absolute fact, and it absolutely proves kinetic energy is nonsense because it can't move matter. It can't move matter. If it can't move matter, it's not energy.
And say
Gary
it.
likes impulse, so I think this will be good. Tell us about impulse.
Right, so it's going to be the impulse times the natural log of the initial mass over the.
So we all know none of that matters. None of that has anything to do with the simple truth that it's just about how many pieces of matter are moving what velocity. That's all that matters. Nothing else. So whatever she's reading is some horseshit about some other crap. You don't need any logs. You don't need any of that horseshit. That's only if you're burning fuel that's changing your fucking mass. So if your mass is changing, when you push something, you also somehow dissipated some sort of mechanism inside of yourself and degraded it. And now you have less mass somehow. And that's all. There's no other factor here. You get what you give away.
Final mass, I believe, is.
Oh,
Yes, we're
when
not
you
gonna be
integrate the
real-
rocket.
Losing fuel. We're not playing the losing fuel argument. Okay, that had nothing to do with landing on the moon. The fuel was a minor on the lunar module. The thruster fuel that was used to navigate was a tiny percentage of the lunar module's 2 tons.
It's not
Yeah.
Okay,
2 tons.
so the lunar. Most of.
I think it was like more like a ton. It wasn't 2 tons, but it was pretty heavy. With 2 men in it.
Most of the fuel from Saturn V and the lunar module.
So most of the fuel for Saturn V. We're not talking about the Saturn V. We're talking about the lunar module going from the LEM or whatever they called it, whatever was left of the rocket that's orbiting the moon, and the lunar module is now going to descend to the surface of the moon, and it needs to navigate to land properly.
Well, that was going to be in the Saturn V, right? And they did.
No point. They can't stay on the subject. They won't stay on the subject. They're just liars, period. Despicable liars.
You won't stay on the subject. The subject is, what are you calculating the thrust as? It's mass,
Newtons.
Velocity.
You're calculating as Newtons.
Mass, you're moving a velocity. It has nothing to do with taking the velocity and squaring it. That won't get you the right.
If you want to get the momentum, you do.
Oh, so amazing. Somehow you get the momentum by squaring the velocity of the momentum. Squaring the velocity of the momentum will give you the momentum. NASA scientist. Bubbles.
No, it's absolutely ludicrous. You get the momentum by squaring the velocity. That's ludicrous nonsense.
It was ludicrous nonsense. It just was. I keep saying how surprised I am, okay, that literate, scientifically informed people that know something about Darwin and the Galapagos Islands, they know some science, they know something about clouds, and they know something about diffraction, and they know something about these subjects, and they will jump into complete denial mode when you try to argue that Newton's third law is real.
Okay, all I'll say is that in the textbooks, that's what they do. So.
Oh, no, they don't. So.
Oh, yeah, I just, to sit there and pretend the textbook says the way to land on the moon is to square the velocity and pretend you have more energy than you actually do. Exaggerate the momentum by squaring the velocity, right? All you're going to do is exaggerate the number. You're just going to make a small number like 300 and you're going to turn it into 3,000 by squaring the velocity. And it's not 3,000 real things.
That's just bullshit.
No, they don't. Oh.
No, they don't.
Oh. So the textbook that she literally has right there doesn't say that?
Yeah, the textbook, the 500-page textbook. Where's the page on landing on the moon? Go to that chapter, please.
Just go to the Wikipedia page on the rocket formula, okay? It's not going to tell you
There it
anything
is.
about navigating in space.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. So she just keeps E equals 1/2 blah 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 blah, and it's just about losing rocket fuel. So it's just a meaningless equation. Doesn't say a damn thing, and certainly doesn't undo anything I stated about the absolute fact that all I can transfer is momentum. All I can do is give something momentum, and I get momentum. I can't give something kinetic energy, and I get kinetic energy. It doesn't happen.
And look over there. It converts. You can also see here that big L is
It's
momentum.
KE. It says right there. KE equals. Okay, what does that have to do with
Kinetic
reality?
Yeah.
What does that have to do
it's-
with the absolute fact
Gary,
that
it's the
So right. So they're showing me the definition of kinetic energy as if that could possibly mean something in this conversation. It means absolutely nothing. The conversation is about which formula works and which one doesn't. Which formula moves matter in space? Momentum always moves matter in space. It does it reliably and consistently. Never fails to get a right answer. Kinetic energy never gets a right answer.
big L. You're getting it now.
That makes the thing move.
Gary, you're getting that big L right now. I think you're getting it. Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, you're getting that out there.
I just don't know what to say. It just surprises the fuck out of me that people are this obnoxiously stupid. I thought all the world needed was for people to go to high school and get a little bit of education and we get rid of all the religious crap. But no, all of these people want religion. They want a silly fable to live by. And look at the lengths they will go to defend the silly fables. The silly notions, just a silly notion. 1/2 mv squared is a silly notion. It never did anything. It was never proven. It's just absolute nonsense. And look how they're defending it. All right, it's probably enough. We'll just a little bit more. I mean, the ending was pretty gross, but whatever.
There is
Whatever.
there's
You've
absolutely
proven my point. You can't stay on the subject, and you won't deal with the subject. Okay. The fact is that only one formula can be used successfully. If you use one of them, you get a different answer for how much fuel you have to burn.
So there are these huge rule books whenever you build anything at NASA, and like safety is like number one. And I gotta tell you, if you were building like my rocket, I would not get on it.
Right.
Yeah. It's a great counter argument, huh? If you did anything, I wouldn't touch it. I don't even like looking at it. Okay, I can't even imagine having to breathe air that you've been near. How many ways can I call you a skanky and say, yeah, not for $1 million? God damn. I mean, it's just so fucking stupid. Waste of time. Your silly, stupid insults are a waste of time.
Okay, so I'm just saying if your baby was in a lunar module, you would be perfectly comfortable if they calculate using 1/2 mv squared for how much fuel you have to use.
It would be calculated in mass. How much?
Yeah.
It'd be calculated in mass. It just, I mean, God damn it. Oh, it's just pricelessly stupid.
It, right?
He just magically switches between
Obviously,
units.
the mass is on both sides. We're not arguing about the mass. We're arguing about this v squared crap.
I mean, just amazing. Amazing.
You got to get rid of the MV and replace it with an L.
Oh, yeah, it's just so pathetic. I just can't. It's just every single sentence, every piece of shit she said was shit. She didn't say a sensible thing in the whole fucking conversation. Not one sensible sentence.
There's just no point. I'm sorry. No,
Okay.
no sale.
He's got the L. I think.
This is a ridiculous counter argument.
All right, sorry. I'll put away my
Yeah,
sources.
that's obviously
You're
wrong.
ridiculous. Yeah, you have no physical evidence for this
Whatever.
crap.
Yeah. Other
Yeah,
than
you have
rockets working
show
when
me
you
that-
use.
So again, rockets work. MV squared works. So if I use it, I would land on the moon successfully because, yes, I can throw lighter things faster, create more energy, and get more thrust. All I have to do is make the thrust smaller and smaller and smaller and make it go faster and faster and faster, and I'll make more and more energy that way. Big wrecking balls fail. Why don't we use bullets instead? So much more energy. Why try to knock down the building with that lame, stupid, heavy wrecking ball? It's not going to hit anything or do anything. It can't impose any force on anything. It's got no fucking kinetic energy. It's so fucking weak and lame. I mean, this is such a stupid, fucking ignorant argument. These people are just so goddamn stupid.
Use the
I need
math.
5
Yeah.
times the fuel to go
Never
5
mind
times the
that
fast.
silly stuff.
Show me,
Yeah, I
show
know.
me. Doesn't matter about evidence. Evidence. We have our formula. I mean, this is ridiculous physics.
Yeah.
Okay, that's probably. I'll say maybe I'll save the ending for the next video. Just because I've just had it. I just can't listen to these lying sacks of fat, stupid, ugly, motherfucking smelly shit. Oh God, what human garbage, just absolute human garbage. This is why our culture sucks. This is why this planet is just wasting suffering all over the places, because assholes like this are running this fucking planet. These fucking obnoxious lying sacks of ignorant shit. And you jackasses are applauding them. Get what you fucking we're all gonna get what you fucking deserve. That's the sad truth. Us innocent people that weren't stupid, obnoxious dupes are gonna have to fucking burn at the stake. Because you stupid morons couldn't figure out that these aren't people you should be listening to. God damn it.